So what's going on, YouTube? Today's little project. See, the old spreader's getting a little right, and the chain's not really supposed to be down there. This was a traded spreader, the one I had that worked. Of course, this is a bigger spreader than what the other one was, full of garbage. Top beater for it. But the side's gone down there. It's kind of gone back here, but not as bad. And hind cross member there, and the floor is in pretty rugged shape. This back door, I believe, is supposed to be bolted in. There's a hole up ahead and two holes. I believe it's supposed to be in the next one, so it holds the door forward a little. And I'll probably get a piece of nylon or something to stick on that instead of plywood. But anyway, that's the job on for today, and I imagine it'll be more than today, because I get something going, then I leave it for a while, and then come back after a bit. It's a vicious circle of getting little tiny bits done on everything instead of finishing something. So anyway, it's a 3632 spreader. New idea. They galvanized the sides, as you can see it wore off on the back, but they galvanized the sides and whatnot. It's wore off from, of course, shit running on it, but I don't know why they wouldn't have done the lower frame, which would be that. They painted it nice pretty gray, but yeah. Anyway, that's the job. Took the wheel off. Hopefully I can jack this up a little higher to get in there. I'll probably pull the bolts out, what I did here anyways. Pull these bolts out, maybe cut the panel up. I'll see, I guess, as time goes on. I was going to cut out around this, but there's no point. When it's all gone, there's nothing actually holding this. I mean, that's my panel there. If I was to weld that in, it's going to come up underneath and hold it anyways, but only time will tell now. But I'll probably cut it out to here anyway. I'll probably run flush where the plate goes, and then I'll drop. It's easier to weld nice thin metal on thin material when you have a bit of a lip there to run along, instead of trying to butt weld the two pieces. Especially when it's thin, because it's really easy to burn through, of course. But we'll see, I guess, how things go. The old spreader's in pretty good shape other than that. A lot of the cross members are still decent. So that's what's on today anyway. So this is what we've come up with. Nice, all these round holes. I'll take and maybe punch a hole in it, and I'll reach in with a stick welder. That way I can, probably won't be a big hole, but a small hole, just kind of spot weld in between, because this will be held well here. And actually up underneath, I do have enough area there I can reach up, I think, and stitch it in anyway, so it might not even need these really, but can't hurt to have a little extra than a little less. I had to notch it out for this here. I'll show you what I mean, I guess. Might be pretty dark, it might not. Oh, it looks pretty good on the camera. So there's my old piece. As you can see, it's thin and has thick spots. So if I can stitch it into the thicker spots, I can actually stitch right along it. There's the chain, how it should be versus what it is. Anyway, there's that. Same along the front here. So, check out the old poo flinger. That's nice. Very nice. Now, there's my holes I drilled. As you can see. That'll really hold the bottom edge of that plate. Anything you're patching in, really, you should drill a hole and spot weld it through it like that. You could just say, oh, I'll just sit near the rod and burn through a few spots, which you could do that. With this hole, I'm using 3/32 rods. Somebody didn't do a very good job cleaning some of this up, but when you're using a smaller rod, I got that smaller hole. It doesn't matter what rod you use, as long as you have a hole the size you can do it. I reached in, because there is pretty decent metal in spots. I did 2 here because that's holding that bottom front for the hitch. But you can reach in and actually weld into the material behind. Weld in, really burn in good, and then you can work your way back into this material and then just fill the hole. Whereas if you just burnt through, you're not necessarily welding as well to the inside. If that makes any sense. Anyway, yeah, she should be welded on good. I got her stuck pretty well. Somebody didn't, like I say, do a great job cleaning it up. Is she back here where I couldn't get the grinder? Anyway, I'm gonna stick some bolts through it. That worked out pretty decent. Somebody didn't do a very good job welding, or not welding, but cleaning that up. But as you can see, I got her stuck on there pretty good. Made a pretty good job of it. And I will say too, you don't need super clean metal. It's not recommended. You should clean your metal the best you can. But you can weld through dirt and crap. Especially if you really know what you're looking for in a weld puddle. Of course, if you're new to welding, it might not be as easy to spot as somebody that's been welding. But because you can burn, work ahead, it burns into the steel. And then when you kind of go back, yeah, you got to work at it. It's not just like lay a pass and it'll burn right in. Of course, this is thin. I had to really work at the dirtier metal. Especially overhead. Overhead's miserable. Flat's not so bad. Even on the side here is not so bad. And this is actually at the side, so it's not terrible. But anything overhead, clean metal your weld will draw to. Whereas dirty metal, your weld won't pull to the dirt like it won't pull into the metal. Just because it's dirty enough that it won't transfer the arc as well, I'm assuming. I'm no expert. So anyway, when you do that, like I say, it was burning in. Then I just work my puddle back through what I already burned in good. So I'm pretty happy with that for how dirty it was. It looked just like this here. So well, there's this side. Pretty well glued on. Alright, she's welded. I did put a nice little patch over them little holes. You can see where she was burning through. It's because I shouldn't say burning through, but you can see where it got hot. That's where I stitched in the inside. Both front and rear. I got that cut off. Probably gonna bend that down a little further. But you can see I got my come along on here, that chain on her. Pull that side in because it was quite flared outwards. But now in there you can see I cut around that tubing. I got it pulled in a fair ways here now, but that was actually broke at one time and it was welded. The weld was fine and all that, but I believe it must have sprung this a little when it broke. So when it got welded, it actually pulled out. And of course, like I say, with this hind cross member gone and stuff, that didn't help it. But I believe that actually let it spring a little more than it should have, because it was quite close to the chain coming off that rail. I wasn't happy with the amount of chain it was covering, but now it's the halfway when it's all the way over, so that's pretty good. So the back section, put that tube in. I had it pulled together, that'll hold the bottom in. Now this hind cross member, I gotta saw that off there. Oh, look at that. Not quite the same color. There's the piece that came out of it. Oh yeah, you're gonna fight, are you? Pretty rugged. Oh, gotta drill a few holes. Put my piece down the side. It's sprung up, of course. We'll pull that back down. Punch a couple holes in her. So, a few days later, maybe a week, whole side's done. I came back right along to here, joined it up, even threw some primer at it. Geez, I'm ahead. Anyway, back corner here was gone. As you can see, it's been welded in a new piece. This was shoved down and frigged up, so I cut that out and shoved it up. Rewelded it, rewelded this after I split it to lift it. Nice new orange brace, finished that today. Now it kind of looks funny. It should have had a whole floor put in it, but I guess I didn't. But if I have any problems with that catching any of that chain, I will put a whole floor in it. But I'll have to maybe cut some logs to the length, because it's actually over pretty near 17 feet, so 16 footers won't cut it. Now, you can see where I patched that piece in there. I didn't really weld much in here because when I was welding it, it was burning in good for both sides. But as you can see, I put a hind cross member in her, plated, welded to it. That side was well enough I could kind of reuse what was there, just weld to it. And there's my brace I put in here. I squeezed these sides in because the chain wasn't quite running. Now it's pretty good, you can see. But the chain wasn't running quite where I wanted on this inner lip, so I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to fall out. So anyway, I pulled it together, stuck this tubing in, burned around her. Welded these plates in as well. Now I showed you where that cylinder mounted. There's actually the cut where I cut out around it. So this is actually welded to. It's still got flux on it, but this is actually welded to that. So this will give that a lot of strength as well. So that'll hold that cylinder arm better too. Anyway. There she be. There's that little project. Hopefully in the very near future, I'll get a video maybe of spreading some poo. Everybody likes spreading poo or watching poo being spread. Last thing I'm gonna do is this shaft's gonna kink in it. I'm gonna knock that shaft out, put a new piece on it if it's not too expensive. 36, 32. There's a neat video on these if you like videos, I guess. You could watch, if you look up 3600 new idea, it will actually show you a promotional video or whatever when they first came out, like a brochure style video. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this kind of stuff and watching somebody work on stuff, I suppose, you could always like, follow, or subscribe, I guess it's called. Follow along for more. Of course, this is going to have to be replaced as well. I'm thinking something in the nylon category for that, but yeah, thanks for watching.